Hello and welcome to today's historic Best of 3 deck tech and gameplay video on Blue-Black Mill. Blue-Black Mill does exactly what you would think it would do, in that it wants to use cards like Glimpse the Unthinkable and Drowned Secrets, your Didn't Say Pleases or Thought Collapses, basically any of our various tools to mill out our opponent, ideally as quickly as possible. But in service of that plan, and not just dying to every aggressive deck, we do run some other supporting spells. So besides all of our mill tools that we talked about, we have cards like Drown the Loch, which can give us more counter spells in the vein of your Thought Collapses and such, if we need it. Or we can always destroy an opposing creature if we need to. Some Heartless Acts and Thought Erasures allow us to interact a little bit more, along with the Enter the God Eternals, and cards like Murderous Rider. Those are all cards that might not necessarily mill themselves, but either, say, benefit from having already milled our opponent a lot, or just help us not to die, since a deck like this can just get ran down by traditional aggro. The sideboard, relatively self-explanatory, all of whom are typical sideboard cards. Feed the Swarm against some weird Enchantress stuff that's floating around. Tainted Remedy for all the life gain various decks, be them combo variants or not. Unmoored Egos for true combo decks if you want to get rid of stuff. A little more Heartless X in the sideboard allow us to interact with creatures more. Same thing with Ritual of Soot being a sweeper. And we also run 4 Leyline of the Voids that we can bring in pretty freely against opposing graveyard decks that doesn't also ask too much of us to splash. And that is the basics of the deck. We'll go now to game number 1. And game number 1 with our little blue-black mill list. It's a 2-lander, but we have a couple things to do with the 2-landers, and we're on the draw. We'll go ahead and keep this. It's not a great keep, it has to be said. But we have enough things to do while we wait for land to draw into. Alright, forced into a grazer. Is it gates? Okay, nothing I can tell. We'll go ahead and just Watery Grave tapped. Next turn, we'll probably play a Hall of the Storm Giants and then a Drowned Secret to sort of get our mill game plan a-rolling. I'll also want to take this moment while the first few turns are being slow that I do recognize that the sound bug might exist and can be a real pain in the butt, but this is one of those I can't control the sound bug thing. So if you want to put some music on in the background if it bugs out, by all means, please do. Now, are they just a ramp deck? Anywho, we'll just play a Swamp and pass. We have open a couple of counter spells. I suppose they could be running some Ceratops of the World or Carnage Tyrant that can't be countered thing. What are they doing? I guess we'll just... No. In the off chance they do have one of those things that can't be countered, we would like to keep the Heartless Act to remove said big scary thing. So we'll just play a land, pass, and see where the game takes us. Blue and white. I'm sorry, Mirari's Wake? Alright, I'm in it. I'm in this game, Jack. So we'll go ahead and counter that, since that's pretty goddamn big if you leave it alone. Some sort of Abzan deck? Abzan Legends, maybe? Right. I don't know if it's good, but I like it. Yeah, we'll go ahead and play the Castle Lochmere. We'll just retain our role in this instance of probably being the controlling deck. Go ahead and counter that. Indestructible things this deck does not like, so... Since most of our, I think all of our removal in the deck actually is destruction-based. So all that shenanigans will really hurt you. Leah, a Johnny, World Tree, so some sort of Abzan Legends. Yeah, we'll just continue with our same plan here. Now we also can play the Lochmere Serpent as one of our few sort of big late game answer cards that allows us to sort of close out a game if the mill plan isn't going to work. Sometimes just having a big old scary creature is pretty useful. And you will get a lot of people scooping to mill, since mill is kind of we'll take this moment to talk about it since I have a minute in sideboarding, and I don't think we're gonna really replace that much. I think we're just gonna keep our plan here. One of the best ways that I think I've heard this described in other places, if people don't understand the appeal of burn, or the appeal of mill, is that mill is like burn, that instead of attacking your life total, attacks your deck. We only really have 4 or 5 turns to sort of set it up. Maybe 6 turns if you're feeling lucky or getting a good draw. But if you don't, most decks will just kill you, be it an aggro deck by traditional means, or most combo or control decks will have more or less set in the lock. And that's one of the appeals of mill to me, in that me being an aggro player, if you couldn't tell by all of the videos on this channel, both in Magic and in Hearthstone, I do like aggro in other forms other than just traditional. Not to say traditional is bad or anything, it's just nice to expand your horizons. And this being a weird aggro control list that has like this weird... this deck is a little bit of everything, and it's really fascinating to play as a result. We'll go ahead and keep this. Now, 2 lands and loads of things to do. Nothing but good things to say about the particular hand. But that's basically the way I've heard other people who are far better at the game explain what mill is like. And when I heard it, it was this light bulb in communications, and that it allowed me to properly articulate how I felt about mill. That's not great. But with the Drowned Secrets we played last turn during that little spiel, and the remaining 2 that are going to come subsequently after this, we might be able to just race them out. Because I don't think, from what we've been able to see, that their list is going to do a whole lot of really scary stuff. I mean, yeah, they could Golos into like an Ugin or something goofy, which would suck. But I don't think it's like an instant like concede. His creatures are getting big, but he's already at 47 cards, and we have, what, 20 mil, and then, what, each mil will get an additional, what, 6? So we have 16 and 16, we're 32 right there, which is fantastic. We'll go ahead and Pathway on black, play the last Drowned Secrets, all of which go into our opponent here. And yeah, our goal is to just largely ignore, kind of like an aggro deck would, to ignore what they're doing and just try and race them out. That's so fascinating. This has been fantastic for showing this. I do like our opponent's list. Why does it miss it in there? Okay, before I was thinking you're in some sort of Abzan Legends thing, which is totally fine. But now with like a Niv Mizzet in there, that has to be a sideboard card, because you're like scared of... He can't be counted, right? Been a long time since I played him. Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay. I think they're still dead, though. 16, turn... 16, what? 14 is 30? So yeah, they're dead. Unless they pull some sort of Karn Silver Bullet out, which can totally mess us up, which is admittedly possible. Okay, Gilded Lotus, which is just more ramp. That will not save you. This is going to be a lovely game one to kind of show how mill can work. And I do like our opponent's list. I mean, yeah, Golos is big and scary, and to be fair, like I was talking about in that really big long spiel, we've had, what, 4 or 5 turns now? Because I don't think I missed a land drop. And at this turn, like most aggro decks, I have to kill my opponent, in this case by milling them, or they kill me, just with their board now, even if they didn't uptick the Vivian. We'll be okay, but I hope this goes to show kind of what I mean about how mill decks are aggro decks that attack another axes, besides life totals. Again, it's not my point. I can't remember where I heard it from, but another Magic player, far better than myself, explained it, so you might have to do a little bit of digging, but that's one of the reasons why I really like mill. To the point where mill will likely, as a list, stick around in my, list of deck list. And I'll probably do updates on it if it gets more support later. It was a fantastic game 1 to show all about this deck, so hopefully this will kind of do pretty well. We'll go now on to game number 2. And game number 2 with our little blue-black mill list. We'll go ahead and play first. Another 2-lander, which under normal circumstances might not be the greatest keep, but we do have 3 things we can do and the ability to sort of get the ball rolling with what our deck wants to do. Go ahead and water your grave tap since we don't have any turn 1 plays anyway. Tomb from our opponent. So, in lack of any sort of information, and really as an aggro deck anyway, we'll just continue along our primary game plan and divert as little as we can from that to answer what our opponent will do. Swamp from our opponent. They have an Assassin's Trophy. Yeah, cool. I guess you solved my land problems for me, so thank you kindly. I am appreciative. Well, yeah, we'll get a blue source. Why not? Black source is pretty nice. We'll go ahead and play the Pathway on black. This way I can play the Drown Secrets. Also keep open a Drown in the Loch, even though they probably won't be able to actually counter anything. Or destroy anything. Only having 1 spell. Okay. It's not great, but it's fine. Odds are, minus maybe the occasional 1/1 little sacrifice fodder to the Midnight Reaper, I think we'll just keep open a Didn't Say Please, since it's the only thing we can really do this turn anyway. We are trying to suss out what our opponent's trying to do at this stage. Abzan. Some sort of Abzan mid-range. Probably a Siege Rhino floating around in there somewhere. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and let this sort of progress. I imagine they'll want to play something eventually. But maybe their admittedly pretty big brain idea is to just beat me down with the creature. Go ahead and play whatever lands we can get. They might actually do that and weirdly not engage my strategy, which is one thing you can... One way that you can kind of beat this deck is just to ignore it altogether. Fuck. Yeah, that's fine. We do have the Rider. I was just considering whether or not to do it on my turn or not. If they do nothing, we'll go ahead and hit the Rider, since if we don't engage with it, it will just kill us traditionally, as they have done the correct thing and ignored our game plan and taken away our deck's ability to do its fun little goofy thing. They probably play some big scary creature now that I can't answer. Get the fuck out of here, I can answer that. Oh, you're an Abzan Knights. Okay, very nice. We'll counter that spell. I don't want that to hit the board. Odds are they probably just have another one, to be fair. They have a claimed contender and everything. Alright. I mean, the version of Knights I've ran and still have in my deck list is a black... This is a pure Orzhov one. So I'm a little concerned... Not concerned, that's not the right word. Where is the green coming? I mean, whatever. Oh, you're just gonna reanimate it, I guess? Yeah, that'll do it. What do we do? That's not great. You know what? We'll just go ahead and murder this Rider. I don't want to take any more unnecessary damage. We still withdraw in the Loch. We're still withdrawn in the Loch. Do you have some way to interact here? Even if they attack, I'm happy to just take the trade. We're just looking to gain life and sort of stem the bleeding here. If they don't attack me, I will attack them. I'm not that committed. We'll go ahead and get rid of the Drown in the Loch, since just any blue spell right now, due to Drown Secrets, is just advancing our game plan. So we'll just take what we can get. Maybe they have like a removal spell of their own or something. Yeah. And in a weird way, we sort of kind of don't mind if they draw cards. Like, it's not great, obviously. We prefer they mill the cards. But that is less cards we have to work through, if that makes any sense. I guess I could glimpse... Well, hold on. Let's go second main. Let's be a responsible player here. We're going to attack the Sorin, as that can reanimate more stuff, which we don't want. Honestly, I will actually counter that spell. Because we don't want the Sorin to be able to just continually accrue value. And of course, any card we can like actually mill pretty much by any method is good enough for us. And us being on 8, even the Sorin just being able to uptick isn't like fantastic. There's another one. I'll happily again counter that spell. They're really fighting to protect this Sorin, which tells me that they understandably really want to keep it alive. So if we can remove the ability of the Sorin to grab a lot of things out of their yard, it's all good. Probably gonna down take and kill the Drowned Secrets, which is not great. Though to be fair, is 100% the correct move. It's not even close. I think... what did it do? Did they kill it on their turn or my turn? Because on my turn, I have more counter spells, but admittedly they don't know that. But on our turn, do we, assuming the writer lives, I think we still take out the Sorin. At this stage, we kind of don't super mind them drawing cards. And they appear to not... I haven't seen any like crazy big things that want to be reanimated, but I guess we can bring in Leyline of the Voids. Maybe? I don't know. It's a weird spot. It's not great. They're at 31 cards. I might just pathway and pay the kicker cost for Maddening Cacophony. And also, this will give us some insight into what their deck is. Okay, so they're not like all in on the reanimation plan. That's just like a nice little extra bit. Again, we want to get rid of the Sorin since they don't have any 1-drops, I don't think, in here. Yeah, we don't want to give them any free reanimation if we can avoid it. They have 14 cards in hand. I have 13 milled. And whatever your draw step gives you. Is it May? You may reveal. He did! Why would you do that? So now I just have you. Pardon my French, but I have your ass. That's it. Draw more cards. I don't think that's a good idea. But that's cool. I mean, you know. Oh, do we just have you this way? Or we can just, you know, mill you out traditionally and not even have to wait for the hidden sequence. So we'll go ahead and glimpse into a Maddening Cacophony to get the rest. What is that? Okay, it just looks thicker. Yeah, and then on their upkeep, we'll just go ahead and pass. I said pass. And then, like we talked about earlier, when you go to draw with an empty library, you lose the game immediately in the base game rules. Now, what do we bring in? We've seen basically all of their decks, so that kind of has to be said. I don't think we need to go that heavy into the graveyard removal. It's not like a pure reanimator list. Other than that, maybe some Ritual of Soot, actually. Hang on, let me turn this back here. So Soot can come in. I don't think we're going to need the Lochmere Serpent. That's good against more controlling decks to finally finish a game. We're taking out some blue spells, so we'll take out 1 Drowned Secret. Since that card requires blue spells to be good, and having just taken out a couple blue spells, it might not be the greatest to have all 4 in there. And Ritual of Soot being a black spell in of itself also adds to the diluting of overall blue spells. Admittedly, not by much, it has to be said, but just enough that I think that's the best call. One thing to note, that if you are running this list at home and you feel like you're going up against a good graveyard deck and you need to bring in the Leyline of the Void, almost always is it better when you bring out the Leyline to replace it with Drowning the Lochs, since those need cards in your opponent's graveyard, and Leyline basically removes their graveyard. So That is one thing that I don't think I'm going to be able to show you this game, but I have learned in the couple weeks of testing. Now, onto the game itself. One lander and nothing to do. Easy mulligan all day long. Two lander, but I have sideboard cards. I do draw. Do have removal. I'm gonna keep this and get rid of the Drowned Secrets and hope we don't die. Go ahead and swap off. Oh, thank God. Never punished. So we'll go ahead and play an island and just Drowned Secrets on turn 2. If they immediately, like, Assassin's Trophy it or something, we're, at this stage, particularly happy to just take the land. We'll probably search for a blue so we can have the second blue for the Enter the God Eternals. Since we can't really do that much anyway, we'll go ahead and play the Hive, since it's going to come in tapped now. Or come into play tapped now, pardon, no matter what we do. Opponent has 3 lands. Plays the Midnight Reaper, which is fine. We get the second blue anyway, which is very nice. We're not gonna Ritual of Soot now, not for 1 card. We're not that desperate yet anyway. Now the question is, does he do like he did last time and just ignore and not develop a board and just chunk me down? Now this time, if he does, we've managed to actually hit and Enter the God Eternals, which is great for this deck. It's removal. We'll go ahead and pass. It's removal, it's life gain at the same time, so it swings the board even more so, and it mills, and leaves us behind a further body to do countless things. Enter the God Eternal is a fantastic card in this deck, even though it might not seem like it on paper. We'll go ahead and castle. Yeah, we'll stick with our plan of using the Enter the God Eternals. Still mills them out, and sort of progresses our initial game plan. They had to have brought in, and correctly so, those Knights of Autumn if they're fearing the Drowned Secrets. Yet another reason why it's like okay to take out some Drowned Secrets if you manage to play a lot of them game 1, as your opponent will understandably, and correctly so, see this as a really big problem if left unchecked. And cards like a Knight of Autumn do give the opportunity. So did you find it? I haven't seen that in a long time. If I Murderous Rider, do I have the Drowning the Loch open? I think we'll use the Heartless Act, because Heartless Act is, in theory, the... I can hear the sound bugging out now. Is, in theory, the more narrow of the 2 removal spells. Now, in reality, they're damn near just as open to, like, how useful they are. But Murderous Rider is just technically more so. It only asks that I lose life, where Heartless Act cares about 1/1 counters. And as we just saw from their Find Finality, if they've cast the Finality part, there's, in theory, there's 1 creature that I, can't do anything about. Now, $1,000,000 question. Do I counter the Drown the Loch? They can't play another one as they only have 1 white source, so we'll go ahead and counter it. Why not? Any big creature they play, we can always just destroy with a Murderous Rider. Drowned Secrets. Get rid of all of their answers. They've also milled over a couple of Assassin's Trophies, which is pretty useful. Again, I do apologize about the sound. I think it's a little fucking silly that it's allowed to just... I'm sorry, wait. Is it not? Okay, whatever. I swear it went deaf for a second there. I could be wrong. Anywho. We do have the Murderous Rider. Get the fuck out of here. They had another one. We did have the Murderous Rider to get rid of big scary creatures if we need to. We kind of don't mind that, honestly. See, there's moments of that where that sounds like half of that Knight of Autumn. Sorry to jump all over the place, but half of that Knight of Autumn effects, like the first half of the animation, sounded really muted to me. Maybe it's just my setup, which is possible. That has to be said. I have a counter spell and a murder spell open. A pretty big body that kills in 2 turns. We're in a good spot. And this game does do a good job of showing that even if your opponent manages to get rid of the drowned secrets, the deck can... the deck can still 100% function. And I did hear the sound deafen on the blocking step, so the game is still totally borked. In places. Bits and pieces of it are dying, which is weird. This deck has honestly been really, really fantastic and a lot of fun and honestly pretty good in the last couple of weeks of testing. $1 question. Yeah, we'll counter it. It's fine. So I would say it's a really safe craft if you happen to have it. Honestly, this might take me to Diamond. I might play one more game immediately after this and just show you the end of it. For like 2 or 3 seconds, just to show that the deck can like really win games if left alone. Do I want... I have 32 cards, but I can mill half their deck. Yeah, well, hang on, be responsible. Second main, in case they have some weird way of interacting. If they're scared, they'll do it like that. I kind of don't care, since the Madden Cacophony is going to reactivate the mill as an option. So we're going to kicker the Madden Cacophony for 6 minutes in total. They're down to 16 cards in library. Admittedly, we don't have any more mill cards in hand, which is fantastic. It has to kind of be said. But we're not too far off, just like a really good hit. That was an aggressive... Do you need that? Oh, you did need that. Okay, that's fair. Are you gonna... Wow, you put it in your hand. That is... ballsy. I guess we just play this on... I guess we'll go black. And I think we just Ritual of Soot this board. We also maintain our own Murderous Rider like they do, if they play anything that big and scary. Admittedly, we're not doing a great job of milling them, but I'm okay with shifting roles to control for a little bit until I find the alternate win con that is milling, basically. There's Sorin, which isn't great. Sorin has to die immediately, even though they're going to resurrect something. The only question is what. Alright, they're going to reanimate the Acclaimed Contender. They appear to just be comfortable taking all these draws, which is going to make my life of milling them much easier, it has to be said. One more Commander. Do they play it? Correct, as they should not really be doing right now. I think I can actually Castle Lochthwain to just look for more cards here. Drowned Secrets will do. We don't mind taking a turn off. Maybe they'll commit a little bit more to the board so that if I don't find a mill tool, I can just Ritual if need be. Drawing another one. Are you going to draw more cards here? Because now I just need to draw... Oh, well, never mind that. But they were correct. They held the Knight of Autumn until it was really important. Of course, they're going to walk into one hell of a sweeper. Yeah, it's better just you rip the Band-Aid off, Max. Don't get... What's the word? Don't get cute now. Just take what you can get when you can. We'll go ahead and play the Murderous Rider on second main. Why not? I'm glad I didn't do that main phase. I totally had forgotten that the card was on adventure. Yeah, and sometimes you don't even need the mill strategy entirely, and you can just control somebody out. I actually will, off camera, play another game immediately after this and see if we can get to Diamond, just to show that the deck can get to Diamond. So maybe this will be the end of the video, and if it is, just wanted to thank you all for watching. Remember to like the video if you liked it, and sub if you like my weird grab bag of content and would like to see more in the future. Regardless if there is another little segment to this video or not, stay safe out there, and remember, I'm pulling for you. We're all in this together. Quick little check-in like I told you about earlier. It can get you to Diamond, and if I really sat down and buckled down, it could probably happen. But every once in a while, like we talked about, you can just get ran over by a good old-fashioned aggro deck. Again, remember to like the video if you liked it, and sub if you'd like to see more. And if you have any more questions in the future, as long as they're nice and somewhat constructive, let's put comments forward down below. Stay safe out there. Catch you next time.